Already, we are recording. Hello, everyone. Today is Thursday of February the 3rd, 2022 at 10:03 p.m. My name is Jackal here, and today is the first episode of the Juxtaposition. I think I've officially called it that by now, after putting in the pilot episode. Yeah, why not? We'll call it that. Um, I'm a bit conflicted about what we can talk about today, but I think maybe we'll start off with one that I think I don't know if I completely tie in with, but I will cover it nonetheless because it is something that I feel like I have. ADHD. This is a very interesting thing. A lot of people, I don't know the exact statistics of people who have ADHD in the US, let alone the world, but it is something that is a very interesting um I wouldn't say diagnosis or like issue or like mental. I mean, I guess it's like a mental state or something. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not a scientist or a psych major, whatever. It's kind of weird to have something like this in your brain. Kind of I don't really okay, I don't really know what I'm talking how I'm going to formulate this idea. However, I'll just talk about my experiences with it, god. And maybe it'll give some insight onto some things about how my brain works, I guess. I don't know. We'll work with this. Why not? Um, Fondly enough, the idea of doing this whole video series was founded from the idea of having just one random idea that I hyperfixated on for about, I'd say 5 hours, and decided to do. On that day, I think 2 days ago, where I recorded the first episode, I said to myself, I think we could probably do this. I don't think any YouTuber has done this before or has decided to do one take, one alone, clock on the board, and that is it. Audio, and that's it. So we might as well give it a shot. And here we are, episode one. I've had a lot of these spur of the moment ideas, and um, most of them have fallen off. I guess most, and some of them. I guess people when they get into like the later days of their life, maybe mid-age, you can call it like a midlife crisis where they just go on a huge buying spree, buying expensive cars, going to casinos, all that jazz or stuff like that. But when you're someone my age and you're in college, you call it ADHD. I don't know. I don't know what else to call it. I've done many things such as I've started making games, making more videos. I had an idea for a video that I will not disclose because I feel like I might keep working on it later at a different time. Also with the game, other hobbies such as guitar, photography. Those are two things that I would like to keep working on. Photography is something that I've been working on for the past few years, but I think personally, I don't know if I can keep it up. But I guess it just comes down to like my willingness to even get out of bed and say, hey, let's commit a day and go outside and take some photos. I guess the entire thing is based around commitment. Hyperfixating on things that like would sound good in the spur of the moment and then dropping it immediately because you're not fully committed to doing it. Maybe that says something more about my character than less about my ability to pick up things and drop them at will. I'm not entirely sure. I don't quite remember other things that come with ADHD. I'm not gonna Google anything right now because that would be that would probably mess up the format for what we have on screen, but I will do so on my phone as I talk about other things about ADHD, I guess. Symptoms, here we go. Yes, on my phone. Will it give me a laundry list? Probably not. Fidgeting. I'm just gonna go down the list. We're just gonna talk about, oh boy, RLC. What the heck is that? RLC. RLC is a condition similar to fidgeting. This stands for restless leg syndrome and describes the need to be constantly moving, often by bobbing a leg up and down or rocking it side to side. I'm going to be completely honest with you all. This is something that I can attest to. I feel like that I tend to want to fidget with stuff. As I'm recording this right now, I have a ring on my finger that I'm fidgeting across my finger left and right. I'm not entirely sure why I do this, but I guess it's something to like calm nerves inside my body, or I don't know what ornate reason tells me to do so, but I do it anyways. What other things come with ADHD, might you ask? And I shall um respond with that. Insistent talking. I am not a big talker. Let's talk about that. We're gonna jump topics. I'm not a big talker. Doing this is doing this style of video is probably something that I'm a bit, what's the word? Um Reluctant to do, this style of video, but I feel like it's the most appealing to me. I wouldn't want to do gameplay or montages, even though I would have like someone else edit that for me and be like, "Yo, that looks so cool. Thank you for like the help out with that." But commentary seems pretty um I don't know how else to put it other than just normal to me. Even though I am even like those slightest bit nervous to press that record button. I had a lot of nervousness and a lot of first time jitters recording the first episode. You could probably hear it in my voice in the beginning, like the first 30 seconds of it, and you could probably hear it right now if you're so keen on listening into what I am feeling. Other things are reckless behavior of ADHD, which I feel like I'm not a very reckless person. I consider myself to be pretty well oriented in my choices that I make. Other things may include poor organization. My room can be a mess sometimes, but everything is in the place that it needs to be. For instance, I have my masks, my wallet, and my glasses stand on a dresser, and they will stay there. And if anyone moves them, I will know. Other things that might be messy but also require to be in the same spot is shoes lying around my dorm room or clothes in my closet. Things like that, I know they need to be in that spot, and if anyone moves them, I will be very concerned as to where they are. Because I'm so used to them being in a certain spot that if they are moved, then I guess I will kind of. I really don't know. I wouldn't really know. I highly doubt that my roommate, or let alone my mom, would fly all the way here to college to organize my room. I highly doubt that. Another trait of ADHD is poor listening. I tend to daydream or just get very not invested into when people talk to me for long amounts of time, or just sometimes, or just I get confused as to what people are saying sometimes. Not in the sense of like I don't know what the heck you're saying, as in like you're saying a different language from me, but I'm thinking about other things right now and I have no clue what you just said. I guess also traits with ADHD and being an introvert might be really interesting because poor listening can kind of be interpreted as, oh, you don't really like uh what's it? Small talk. I am not a big fan of small talk. I think it doesn't really hold up a lot of use, to be honest. There's not really, I mean, you could be like, "Hi Dave, how's the weather today?" "Oh, it's pretty good, Mike." "Oh, well, duh." You could look up at the sky and say, "Oh, it's sunny outside," in your mind and say, "Wow, today's gonna be pretty nice for weather," and that's it. Just you don't think about it ever again. Other things might be distractions. I get distracted by things very easily. Hence, hyperfixation on many different things, many different projects, and many different other things. For instance, if I were doing homework at let's say 1 a.m., I would probably be more distracted than I would be at, let's say, 3 p.m. doing homework then. It kind of varies on when I get distracted by things, but I guess it's 24/7. Most of the time I'm distracted, unless it's something that I need to do, like sleep. I don't really tend to get distracted when I sleep. Actually, that's not true. I talk to my in my head a lot when I sleep, so it gets a little weird. I don't know. Hard to I don't know. Another trait is lateness or poor timekeeping. I'm not the best when it comes to waking up to my alarm. I feel like a lot of people also have a bit of problems when they wake up to their alarm. Um, I remember I set an alarm to take a nap about 1 hour before a class started, and I woke up to the alarm. I went immediately back to bed, and then when I woke up, it was an hour past classes started. So I was not going to class that day. Unfortunate, true, but my willingness to get out of bed was uncontested by my willingness to stay in the bed. I don't think I worded that right, but you're going to hear that mistake anyways. My ability to stay in the bed was stronger than my ability to stay out of bed and get up and move on with my day. What other traits are there to ADHD, you may ask? Angry outbursts. I'm not entirely sure that this applies to me, as in, I don't really get angry with people verbally or outwardly. I kind of just build it up either in my mind or I just tell someone in private and say, hey, this person can be a bit of a nuisance or kind of rude and brash and or just straight up not a nice person, and they'll be like, oh, I agree with that, or you kind of need to consider what they think. It kind of depends on the person that I'm talking to, but I don't tend to get angry as much as I would like to think. What else are there? The inability to sit still. I feel like this pairs a lot well with fidgeting. I feel like it just builds on to what ADHD people do. They kind of just fidget, and I'm not entirely sure why we do this, or I don't know. And I'm going to say this is the last one because I think it's time to wrap up the episode, but the inability to wait for their turn. I'd consider myself to be a pretty patient person, but you know, um, there are moments when I get a little bit impatient, Like if you're waiting, okay, for instance, if you're waiting for Christmas and it's November and you're like, oh boy, I can't wait for Christmas. Like you can't really sit still and be like, ooh, but like some people can. I can, but that's because I know it's gonna come up soon. For other things, it may vary, but for me, it also varies. I don't really know else to put it, but yeah. I think that's good enough for a topic of ADHD. It's something that's very interesting, and dealing with it makes you feel less like a robot and more like someone who just has like sporadic outbursts of creativity or just sporadic outputs of whatever. But it's a very interesting topic and a very interesting thing to deal with. I think that's all we're going to talk about for today. Thank you all for listening in, and as always, your viewership is just enough for me. If you'd like to hit the subscribe button and see more of this, that would be great. Follow me on my Twitch, link will be in the description as well, and you're gonna hear the voice crack. Other than that, thank you very much for listening, and have a fantastic evening.